This is Andreas, and you're listening to Breakdowns for Breakfast. Oh, yeah.
Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Breakdowns for Breakfast. I am your host, Danger, and joining me is a fellow that cannot probably break down an album without your co-host, Monster. Say hi, Monster.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, but man, it has been so damn hot this summer. I just wish the temperature would drop. Like, I don't know, maybe 40 degrees below what the temperature is this summer. It's hot.
But along with dropping the temperature, do you also want to be invited?
Oh, of course I do.
All right. On this episode of Breakdowns for Breakfast, we were talking about the band 40 Below Summer and their album Invitation to the Dance, and it was released October 16th, 2001. Now, this is another one of Monster's efforts to get me to find a nu metal band that I like.
Yes.
Why did you decide that this was one that you thought I would like?
Well, this is a band that obviously I've been listening to for a very long time.
I'm going to guess since before 2001, but
roughly around 2001, yes. And the thing about 40 Below Summer that I like is it's unmistakably nu metal, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But there are some influences in here that are a little bit more up your alley. Like, there's a little bit of Glassjaw in here. There's a little bit of Candiru. There's a little bit of New York hardcore. And also some more trippy stuff like Faith No More and stuff mixed in here. And so I thought...
I'm really interested to hear where you're going to say that those influences shine.
Wow, okay, so you don't like this. So we're getting that out of the way up front.
I have not said my opinion on this yet.
Okay, so what do you think about it?
Oh, I don't like it. I don't like this at all. In fact, yes, this is unmistakably nu metal. This has all of the, like, all of the flags of a nu metal album, of a nu metal band. This is, I say this in my closing statement, but I'll go ahead and say it here. This is a paint by numbers metal band.
I disagree. I think it is.
Yeah, go for it.
I think it's 100% under the nu metal umbrella. You can definitely hear the influences. This slots perfectly on a bill with that like mid-tier level, like Reveille, Switched, Shovel, Factory 81, like that level. But for me, I always liked these guys a little bit because I felt like they were shooting for a little bit more than that. And they do some stuff on this album, some weird, especially like bridges and little sections where things change up and they shift into a different vibe that a lot of other nu metal bands just weren't really doing. And like I said, I know for a fact that they were definitely influenced by stuff like Glassjaw and the New York hardcore scene. And I can tell you how I know that as we get into this, but I feel like I can hear those influences. There are parts where the song will shift into a different section where it does get into sort of more of like a hardcore kind of chug or groove. And there's even a little bit of like Pantera style groove metal mixed in here that Deftones weren't doing. Korn weren't doing. So yes, all of those things are there, but I still feel like there's something a little bit unique about this band. And actually, I think there's several unique things, but are they unique enough, or are they bugs or features? That whole debate, that's for you to decide. And sounds like we have both decided and we're on opposite ends of that.
Yes. I will say that this album does have a lot of energy. It does have a lot of groove to it. The riffs are here. I mean, they're, I really enjoyed some of the riffs that were happening in here. There were spots within some of these songs that I liked, but overall, this is just, I don't know. I need a nu metal break after this album. I understand that, like, your mission in life now, whether I think it's like the B story of your life, but a mission that you have is to find a nu metal band that I like, but I think you went in the wrong direction here. I think you went too far in the wrong direction. That's
interesting because I felt like, oh gosh, what band was it where you said I was starting to hone in on what you liked? Because I got the impression that when it comes to nu metal, you're not as into the rappy, bouncy stuff. You're into the more aggro metal kind of stuff. So I thought, even though this does have a lot of groove and bounce to it, it has a little bit more of this like feisty anger energy to it that I thought, like I said, reminiscent of Glassjaw, reminiscent of Candiria, that I thought might have kind of pulled you in a little bit.
So I think part of the problem there is I like Glassjaw. I don't love Glassjaw. I don't even know who Candiria is. So I like you're shooting for these things that I think that you think that I like.
I keep thinking you like heavy, like real heavy stuff, but actually you like that metalcore that's like super whiny and crybaby, depressing stuff. And there's a little bit of like depressing stuff on here, but not like boohoo like you like.
Are you shitting? You're right. Like, the lyrics are so depressing on this album. I mean, I have on a lot of these. I went and found what the songs are about to put them in because I like, and some of the lyrics are just shit on this album as well. But you know, I'll point out a few places where I feel that way. But this is I Hate My Parents new metal.
I wouldn't say that. This is more like
I hate my parents, but I moved out of their house new metal.
Yeah. I hate a little bit of everything new metal. So this is definitely a band and an album that I liked a lot when I was younger, and I sort of fell off after this album. They've still been putting out stuff. They took a long break, but they actually just, as time of us recording this, the end of July, they just put out 2 new singles for an upcoming album that they have coming out. I'm not particularly in love with the new singles that they've released, but it's still pretty good. But there's a lot of stuff going on this album, both in the record, like in the music, and then also behind the scenes, that it's really interesting the level of success 40 Below Summer had versus what they could have had, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And I thought about something as you were talking about that, about how you were saying that you fell off of 40 Below Summer after this album. And the new singles they put out, you don't love quite as much. So I think that you kind of fell off of really enjoying this band as much as you did when you first got this in 2001, I assume in October of 2001, because your musical taste started to grow and you always had an affinity for this. Every time I went back to this album, you enjoyed it because you had that nostalgia factor to it. And the new stuff, you don't like it because you've grown past that at this point.
There's definitely part of that. There's definitely a reason that this album has stayed with me, and some of their other albums that I listened to in passing, 2003, 4, 5, like still in that same kind of time frame, that I just didn't connect with as hard. But I will say, and if you decide to listen to them, I think you would agree, their new singles are a little bit more. It's funny. If you were a metalcore band in the early 2000s, you start to shift into a little bit more new metal vibe in your newer stuff. If you were a new metal band in 2001, you start shifting to metalcore. I feel like a lot of their guitar riffs and stuff on these couple singles they've released recently are a little bit more in the like Kill Switch Engage camp, which is cool, which is totally cool. But this is what I like 40 Below Summer to sound like. So for me, I want, this kind of vibe.
So to go off what you were saying before I tried to display a revelation to you about you and your musical taste. But anyway, so I think one of the things that worked against 40 Below Summer was 2 things. So one, their name. Their name sounds like they're a boy band off the top. It sounds like they're a pop act. 40 Below Summer, I feel like is a name that would be on a tour poster with 98 Degrees and whoever else. That band name just does not scream a new metal band. But then also on top of it, their album cover, it's just an ugly album cover. It's not a bad album cover. Like, you can see what they're going for, but it's just a poorly designed album cover, which I found that the album cover was actually partially designed, or I don't know if it's partially designed or just influenced by one of the producers on this album, which we'll talk about him here in a minute. So
So,
I don't know.
so
Those two
actually,
things I think worked really hard against them.
okay, so let me start off by saying there is a podcast that I really enjoy called the Life is Peachy podcast. And I brought them up on previous episodes. I think the Crazy Town
Is it
episode.
a podcast about farming peaches?
No, and it's not a podcast strictly about corn either.
Oh. Well, see, they talk about peaches and corn. I figure it's about,
it could just be farming. Yeah.
Do they ever put peaches in a can?
Millions of peaches. What he does on that show is basically he gets guys from these bands to come back and tell stories and talk about these albums. So there is a really good one with this album, lead singer, one of the guitar players from 40 Below Summer, and they kind of go through the process of how they got signed, how this album came to be, and sort of the turmoil that happened, and sort of, I don't want to say why they weren't bigger, but a big part of why they weren't bigger. And so to go back to what you just said, the amount of superstar A-list people working on this in every aspect is kind of outrageous. So the actual person who did the album cover is a guy by the name of Dean Carr. He did the photos of the band and the album cover and all that. Look him up. If you don't know who that is, he has done major music videos for Queens of the Stone Age, and I don't know. I mean, his resume goes on and on and on and on. So, where that is, he's worked with Ministry. I'm just pulling up some of his stuff right here real fast. So, Korn, he did Korn videos. So yeah, so you got him doing the album cover, which, by the way, do you know who that guy is on the album cover?
It's the same old man that showed up in the Kryptonite video for Three Doors Down. Yeah, I did come across
this. And so apparently they took these pictures like out in the desert, and it was basically one of those deals where it was like, this was before we had as much editing software as we do now. So a lot of these, like the way it's kind of out of focus and stuff in the booklet and those kind of weird pictures, that was just in-camera tricks, So I get what you're saying. It's not necessarily the most visually appealing album cover.
It's not as bad as who was the other one with the thumb?
Oh, Scrape.
Yeah, Scrape. That's
the one you said you kind of like.
I don't remember saying that I liked it, but
that was the episode. No. That was the episode.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't remember saying it.
Well, I do. And you said you're starting to hone in on what I like. Okay. And so, to me, Scrape and 40 Below Summer are not that dissimilar.
So you were honing in with Scrape, and then you threw in 40 Below Summer that was just the wrong direction. And so if you're going to do another one, pull back a little bit. Go 30 Below Summer.
No, wait. It should be 50. No, that's not golf rules. Okay, you're right. It would be 30. Okay, so you also alluded to someone else who helped with that, and who was that you were going to bring up?
A gentleman by the name of Sean Crahan, who is Clown from Slipknot, who is as I understand it from just reading through some stuff, is the reason why this album happened.
Yeah, essentially, you're absolutely right. So in that interview, so let me go ahead and read off the names of the guys in the band on this album. So when I refer to them as I tell this little tale, you'll know who I'm talking about. And I'm going to butcher these names.
You know what? It's your turn to butcher names.
Yeah, it is. It is. Joe D'Amico on guitar, Carlos Aguilar on drums, Hector Graziani on bass, Jordan Plingos on guitar, and Max Illich on vocals.
You see why I talk about how I practice reading them off before we start recording?
In my defense, I don't think that was that bad.
No, it wasn't bad, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't right either.
I'm sure it's not. But so the dude on the Life is Peachy podcast had Max and Joe, and they were talking about this whole ordeal. And basically, I'm not exactly sure exactly how the demo got into Sean's hands. But Sean basically got a copy of 40 Below Summer's demo and listened to it on a like super long road trip for like 6 or 8 hours and was like immediately like, these guys have to get signed to our management. So he took the demo to No Name Management, which is who was representing Slipknot and Mudvayne and a couple other bands. And basically said, you got to represent these guys. And because of that, they were able to get in front of a bunch of different labels and do some showcases. And they got several offers from several different record labels. One of the labels that hit them up was Maverick, which is actually one of the labels that they wanted to sign with, because at the time they had Deftones, and obviously Deftones is a big influence and appear. So they were like, yeah, cool. And something happened, and they didn't go into a whole lot of detail, but basically they were saying that the management and the record label kept kind of going back and forth on part of the deal. And the band was like, we got a very fair deal. We were ready to sign, but then the management was basically like, hey, you stay out of it. We'll take care of it. And they kind of ended up asking for too much and screwed it up. So they went with a little bit of a smaller label called London Sire. Now, London Sire was an affiliate of Warner Brothers, and again, didn't say exactly how much, but said they got a very, very good deal. And it was they were sort of like one of the last bands there to get like a significant amount of money as an advance to get started on their project.
Yeah, because this was recorded around March of 2001. Yeah, so it was a pretty quick turnaround for it to be recorded in March-ish of that year and then come out in October, because one of the reasons why I think they were one of the last bands to get that deal was because the entire music industry changed. Every industry changed in September of 2001. Every industry did. So
yes,
that's not surprising at all that they were one of the last to get it. But I did see a thing that was talking about how they were never a band that really dove into the hard drugs of things. But one of the things that I thought was that I got tickled by how they spent a large majority of their money up front on weed in California. And I found another thing here where, what's his first name? Joey? I'm not going to do the last name. So he was talking about how when they went to California, he said the vibe there was very relaxed. We're from New York, so we thought everybody there was weird. We're like, why are they so nice? Why is everybody so happy? Because it's a very different environment. And I believe that, marijuana was legal in 2001 in California.
I don't know if it was legal, but yeah, they said the same thing in that interview I listened to, where they basically said, we're from New York, where everybody's always kind of in a bad mood. And then we go to California and everybody's smiling and happy. And we're like, what's everybody's problem around here?
It's because it's sunny and it's better temperatures.
And they have the best weed. They were like, we started smoking the weed here. It's the greatest thing we ever had. Yeah. And so to piggyback off of that story, the people that worked on this album are also like A-list producers and stuff, because the album was produced by, and you've probably seen this name on the back of several CDs, Guga Garth. And
okay, is it actually pronounced Guga Garth? Because I was saying Gigi Garth because I didn't think that it was Guga on that.
It's Guga because he has a stutter, and so apparently, and so that was one of the funny things.
I didn't know he had a speech impediment.
Yeah, so he's actually on this interview as well. He pops in for a little bit and answers a few questions. And you can hear it when he talks, because what Max and Joe were saying was he's a real good dude. They got along really well, and he was a lot of fun to work with. And when he would get real excited is when he would start to stutter. So when he's sitting in there talking on the interview, he's like, yeah, this was cool and this was cool. And then when he starts like getting a little like more excited, you can hear the stutter start to come in. But he worked on Mudvayne Records. He worked on Kitty's first album. He did Rage Against the Machine's first album.
Okay, so I've got that he worked with Red Hot Chili Peppers, Motley Crue, Nickelback, Rage Against the Machine, L7, Mudvayne, The Melvins, Biffy Clyro, Kitty, Shehead, 5440, Headley, Rise Against, and Spine Snake, as well as plenty of other people, because I've seen Guga Garth, now that I know it's pronounced that way. Yeah. I've seen his name on albums forever, especially more albums that I was picking up in the early
Yeah.
2000s, late 90s, early 2000s.
And then did you see who mixed the album?
Michael Baskett.
So he was part of the team, but the main mixer was Toby Wright.
Yeah. I don't know who Toby Wright is. I didn't look up anything about him.
Oh, dude, same thing. He was the mixer on Follow the Leader by Korn. He did Back to the Primitive by Soulfly. He did a bunch of this, this time period, big records. So you got Sean Crahan from Slipknot, stamp of approval. You got two of the biggest names in rock and metal behind the boards. And you just signed a deal with a huge record label. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, your band's name is 40 Below Zero, and you... Okay, so my theory on why Sean Crahan, or Clown, or whatever you want to call him, my theory on why he thought they should be signed is these guys sound exactly like everything that's happening now. They're hitting all the notes of the new metal sound that's big right now. We got to get these guys signed right now because we can make a lot of money off of them. And there's that face again.
Okay. This is just totally fair. You're not saying anything that is not okay. But what it boils down to is when we get into the nooks and crannies of these overarching genres, if you're not like really deep into it and getting into the minutia, they all start to sound the same. Which is why a lot of times when you bring a lot of these metalcore bands to me, I try to find the things that stand out and make them different, that make me drawn to them. I like the new metal riffs of Thornhill. I like some of the vocals and lyrics of Bad Omens. Like, I try to find the things that I can pull out of it. If you're not ingrained in 2001 new metal like my brain is, this sort of sounds like a lot of other bands. But that's why I'm here, to help guide you through this in hopes that you might find more love for it by the time we're done.
You ever been on a museum tour and not like the guide?
Oh, okay. Okay, well, strap in, buddy, because we haven't even got to the songs yet.
No, I kind of felt like that at a certain point in this, where it was like, okay, so this is hitting all the same notes or all the major notes of any new metal band. This is an album for new metal fans. This is an album for people that are already in that world. And now you're bringing me an album from 2001 that sounds very dated. The production is, I think, good for 2001, but it sounds like a 2001 new metal band to me. Very mid-tier. Did you listen to this on headphones? Somewhat. I can't say I listened to the whole thing. I think I listened to 3 songs in headphones and just kind of put it down. And because this era of new metal has too many high-pitched things and too many tone changes and all, which that is something I do talk about in some of these. They're, stop-starts and stuff. So
I do like... This is an album I've heard 1,000 times, and I'm sure I've listened to it with headphones on at some point. But I listened to it with headphones on over the past week or so for the first time really paying attention, and Garth and Wright, they're doing tricks everywhere. There's so many parts where things are bouncing back and forth, and if you listen to this speaker, you hear something different than if you listen to the other one. And I really I'm not saying this is going to blow anybody's minds, but I will say, really listening to it on headphones, I'm not going to say it's going to change your mind, but I'm just saying that it was more interesting than I thought it would be. Because, like I said, this is usually a in the car, really loud kind of rockin' record. So I was like, for this, really getting into the minute details, I was like, oh, okay, there's a couple interesting things happening here. So speaking of interesting, we have to address the elephant in the room.
Okay.
How do you
Who let an
feel?
elephant in?
I feel like if there was an elephant in the room, we would have already had to have addressed it, because we're both in small rooms.
Yeah, true. Anyway, go on.
How do you feel about Max's voice?
I actually like his cleans.
His cleans, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not a fan of his screams, his dirty vocals.
What do you think of what I was calling the water vocal.
I hate it.
But
I hate it. I hate it. Like I have notes where I just put what happened at this point, like where that vocal came in. So
this is one of those things that there are times when I love it and there are times when I don't like it. And it's like, it has nothing to do with the song or the moment. It has to do with how I'm feeling that day. Because sometimes I'm like, it's so weird and I've never heard anybody else do it. I like it. And then there's other times where it's like, God, I wish that would stop because it's like distracting me. But what's funny is Max says that it's not an effect. He's doing it himself. And basically he was, he's big influenced by Mike Patton from Faith No More. And Mike, if you know anything about Faith No More, does all these weird things with his vocals, like the first probably dozen times I heard Epic on the radio, I thought it was two singers. Like, how could that be the same guy?
Right.
Like, he's got incredible range. So anyway, Max drew a lot of influence from Mike Patton style. And he said, so what he would do is he would take the microphone and he would basically like shake it in front of his mouth forward and backwards really, really fast. And if you can't get a mental picture of what that kind of would look like.
I can't not get a mental picture. Like, I can't get it out of my head. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
He basically said, everybody says that's what it looks like I'm doing. He said, but you would never do it that fast,
If you're out to just get it done quick. All right, you ready to jump into the track list? You ready to,
yeah. Let's do it.
Track 1, We the People.
Don't believe in your lies, you can ask me to change what I am. Stand up and to
This is all you, man. This
okay.
Yeah. I say that now, but as we've learned in the past, I jump in and start talking and whatever. I'm going to try to control it.
Yeah, it's fine. So back in 2001, when that intro started and he had that like talking and then that we the people must jump.
We the people. We the people must. We the people. We the people must.
Immediately. Like, of course I'm going to love that. I like this as an opener. I think it has that we the people must jump thing it grabs you, hooks you in. The tempo is a little bit slow for an opener. But I think the vibe is so strong that I think it works as the opening track.
I do like the drums in the intro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start off with what I like. I feel like this is a song that they play to get their audience to like jump and move. Kind of like to introduce the energy to things. I think maybe this is like, first song, second song, within your set. But
you know what it reminded me of?
Yeah.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Bored, the first song off of Adrenaline by Deftones.
It's funny because I was bored.
Yeah, I knew you were going to make that joke because that's, Scott Timber. That's how funny, that's how clever you are. I actually agree with you. I think you're probably right. They start the set with this song, so they started the album with this song. But the part that I don't want to say like I wish you got better, but for me, the bridge to this song is one of the things that makes me like this band so much because I feel like the song is very dark and kind of moody, but then you have this big, bright, shimmery chorus or bridge. And there's a couple parts later on in the album, some songs later, that really, like, the first time you hear them, really take you on a journey and some twists and turns. So I actually really like the bridge of this song because it is very unexpected.
I just feel like this was their first album, right?
Yeah, some of these songs were on the demo that Sean had that were reworked.
And that's fine. This is a debut album from 2001. Nothing on this album hasn't been done better or before.
Well, okay, so that's the tricky part because we talk about this on a lot of albums. This is from 2001.
Right.
If you're hearing it for the first time in 2025, it is sort of tougher to judge it because you're absolutely right. So many bands have already kind of done this style, and a lot have done it just as good, if not better. But in 2001, it feels a little bit different.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about track 2, Rope.
This is another one that I think is great. I think it is fairly stock nu metal. There's nothing about it that necessarily does anything super out of the ordinary, but it's just a sturdy rock metal bouncy song.
Okay, so this was one of the singles off of this album. This was released October 15th, 2002 as a single. So it was released almost a year after the album was put out as a single. I assume that had to do with something with A&R guys where they're like, hey, we got to get some more out of this. Maybe people don't know about it yet.
Okay, so one of the things that I didn't bring up in that first opening little spiel about the band and the getting signed and everything, 2 months after this album came out, their record label folded. And
I wonder why.
That's like I said, London Sire is not like a huge label, and they threw a lot of money at this project. Well, Warner Brothers owned London Sire. Right. So basically, it was some sort of a liquidation thing, merger, or something like that. And so Warner Brothers was basically sifting through what they had, trying to figure out which artists they were going to keep, which ones they were going to, try to move around, sell, whatever. And 40 Below Summer ended up leaving the label because they were basically being overlooked at that point. So I think you're absolutely right. I think they basically, that's what I was kind of saying earlier, was there was a lot of hope and potential here, and then it all kind of fell apart before it could even really get started.
I did say that I went and found what these songs were about. I don't have it for every one of them, but this song is about going insane, which after I found that and I started reading through the lyrics, I was like, okay, yeah, I get that. Fine. But okay, so this one opens with some clunking bass. And then it turns into Deftones around Adrenaline.
Yes and no, because the thing, again, so talking about the stuff that makes this band unique. Like I said, the opening riff is fairly stock. It's not the most original guitar riff in the world. But what's cool is, after the verse, when it goes into that, I'm at the end of my rope, and then it goes into the actual chorus.
I'm at the end of my
the way he sings that chorus, where he goes real high, Chino ain't doing that. You know what I mean?
And like, I will say he does demonstrate his range within this song. And there are places where he does, which is where I gave it some points where I felt like he was, I don't know. So one of the things about this band is that each person in this band shows that they have talent, shows that they have something. Now, you think that they are fully fledged or fully formed and talented, but,
Well, that's the tricky part, because I feel like you've got an incredible team working on this album behind the boards, helping guide them and structure these songs in a certain kind of way. And then on their next album, they don't have that. And they don't have the budget that they had for this album. So you wonder, okay, a matter of fact, that was part of the interview. Max said, had things worked out, they probably would have kept a lot of those guys on to work on the next record. And I could just imagine taking what this is and then really building on it could be real exciting. The second album's not bad, but it doesn't feel like a major step. It just feels like the next album. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does. You said it's not bad, but it's also not good. So
It's 10 songs, and if you listen to them back to back, at least in my opinion, I feel like you can really hear a drop in the production. And that's not really the band's fault. I'm not saying the songs aren't still good. There's a couple songs on there that I think are better than a couple of the songs on here. But I just think this album, the way it's made, just it's more interesting and it's got more stuff going on. Now, so the bridge on this one, I don't like as much because it kind of does the opposite of what the bridge does in We the People, where it gets darker and slower, and he does that kind of talking thing that I don't love it when he does that.
I would play Teddy.
So that's one of my criticisms on this, where what I said is at the bridge, it becomes a very early 2000s nu metal sound where he has the croaking vocals and then when happens after the bridge, I feel like it's just, it's almost like they established it was a nu metal in the bridge. It's like they came out of the Adrenaline Deftones sound into that nu metal bridge and then into a nu metal full-fledged grown adult, if you will.
Listen to the lies that'll cut you up and try in the blood will
But I don't know. I thought he really showed what he could do with his vocals in a positive way for a lot of the song, and then he did that, and I hated all of it.
So when it kicks back in after that part, like he has that little build up with his, he starts kind of talking a little bit faster and his voice gets a little bigger, and then it jumps back in and we kind of get our first taste of that like tremolo, watery kind of scream vocal thing that he does.
Like I said, I hated everything after that.
This is one of those deals where I'm pretty certain this is the first song I heard by them. And I'm probably, I probably fell on the floor when the first time I heard him do that, because I was like, I've never heard anybody else do that before. That's really cool and different. Again, like I said, sort of just depends on my mood. I want to say, generally speaking, though, I like that Max has all these tricks. I'm not saying I love them all the time, but I just love that he's doing different things. Because, like, say what you will about Deftones, say what you will about Chino, I'm not saying he's a bad vocalist, but he croons through a telephone on, like, every song. Like,
No, you're right. He does. All right.
So even if I don't love the, like, tremolo sound or whatever, I love that it's something different.
All right, let's talk about track 3, Still Life. This song is about a failed relationship and how life seems to stop after it. After I found the meanings of the songs, I was like, that helps me to understand these better.
Yeah.
Doesn't help me like them better, but I understand them.
I'll be honest with you. I did look at the lyrics on a couple of these. There's a couple I'll bring up for specific reasons, but generally speaking, this is one of those albums that I've been singing along to phonetically for years without ever really paying attention to the lyrics all that much. But
I'm sure you have been saying the wrong words in plenty of places.
Oh, absolutely. On the couple that I looked up, I was way off. And now I'm scared. But no, I think this one's a lot of fun musically.
Do you like how it jumps between the soft and the heavy, like just abruptly?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that on the Ongoing Concept, they did that quite a few times, and for some reason I like the way they did it better there than here. It's almost like they just do it clumsy here. It's almost like they do it without purpose. Like every song they do it on, it's just they've got parts of two different songs they're smashing together.
I don't know. Like for me, I think it never feels disjointed. I think there are songs later on the album that do this a little better, where they mix up different sounds and sections. But I like just sort of the driving nature of this song, because I feel like the first two songs are heavy, but they are kind of mid-tempo, where this one picks up the pace a little bit. And also really like his vocal delivery in the verse, where he kind of like screams the first word and then kind of sings the rest of the line.
Reaching out to almost none but believe.
I like that vocal delivery a lot during those parts.
Well, see, I put that the clean vocal part of the chorus is actually catchy and nice, but then he ruins it with the dirty vocal part of it, because it's not like he's doing it for emphasis, he's doing it because he can.
Well, so like at that section at like 151, where the groove changes up.
Oh, I hate that section.
Really? Why? Because of the vocals?
Yeah, his vocals. His vocals are the main thing that I do not like about this song. He channels his inner Jonathan Davis at 151, and then I could do without the sound that he makes, the moaning sound, and then like it goes away to where at first I was like I could do without that sound, and then it comes back again.
It's the. So I don't want to do it, but it's like he does that like that sound that he makes.
Yeah, it's like a stutter moan.
Yeah, like I like the sort of like watery tremolo scream usually, but I don't necessarily love the. I'm not doing it again, but that sound that he makes, what you said, the stutter moan. Like we'll go with
you can
that.
hear it. You can hear it right here.
But I think the music during that section rules. I think that part rocks. I like that a lot.
All right, let's talk about track 4, Wither Away.
And have you missed me? It all went away. The pain of watching you deny me. I've fallen again inside.
Okay, so this was released as a single, February 14th, 2002. So even further, not even further, but it's still like way later than it should have been. But I feel like the entire music industry was trying to figure out what they were doing, especially after September of 2001.
Okay, so one of the podcasts that I also listen to, they talk a lot about nu metal, and they talk about when albums come out. If it comes out after September of 2001, they call it a come down record, because nu metal's kind of coming down from its height of popularity. And I do think that was part of the issue with this album, because it came out so close after that a lot of people didn't want to hear this kind of music right away. Right.
Well, so I think there was quite a few bands, and we've already talked about one. Was it Caroline Spine, where they were a Canadian band that like people thought they were writing songs about?
No, that was Pulse Ultra.
Pulse Ultra, okay.
Because their album came out around this time as well. Right. They are Canadian, and they had the line about the skyscrapers are too big to come down, and just bad timing. Yeah, real bad timing on that one.
Yeah, I feel like this was just another bad timing of it, but I mean, us smaller folk didn't see that coming.
No. Now, with that being said, Wither Away, I think is a fantastic modern rock song.
I'm glad you like it.
I'm sorry you don't. Your life would be better if you enjoyed this, because this is a really good song.
So I'll say this does sound like one of the more alternative songs on here. It's one of the less nu metal songs on this album, but the song could have just used some more thought overall, because the chorus is just him repeating, yelling, I don't know, just saying over and over again, and I wither away, tomorrow's just another day. They could just put a little bit more thought into it.
I think the chorus is very catchy. I think it's simple. It's hooky. The only part of the song that I think is a little bit weak is the bridge, simply because this to me sounds like a big radio single. And when I think of heavy bands putting out like a radio single, I think of sort of a gradual build. So you got a nice vibe on the verses. They're kind of laid back. You jump into your big hooky chorus. Your bridge, it needs to soar. It needs to be the highlight of the song that you wait for. But instead, they try to like rock it up a little bit to kind of connect it to the rest of the album. So I get that. But if they would have really let loose with some kind of even bigger moment, I think this could have been more of a single.
Okay, so I do like the guitar work on this song. I think the guitar work is good here. But, okay, let's talk about the bridge thing you're talking about, where he does what I was calling the snarl moan vocals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also a cymbal in that bridge that just... I don't like it. Actually, this was the one that made me go, I don't want to listen to his headphones anymore, because that cymbal, like, it's like using it's like a crash or something, and I don't like that cymbal.
It's funny you should say that, because that was one of the things they said about the production on this album, was the band kind of had a drum sound that they wanted to go with. And the producers basically said, nah, we're going to use these drum samples instead. And they basically said, you guys are the experts, we'll go with that. But they even said that, like, there's a couple moments on the drums, like the sound that we don't love. And so it's funny that you would also bring that up. As the guitar player, I'm less focused on the tone of the drums. There's certain tones I prefer, like that high crack snare, which is, whatever. But the drums on this don't really bother me either way.
So I feel like there's a difference when you talk about the drum sounds. I feel like there's always a difference between, the toms, the bass drum, the snare, and then what all the cymbals do. I feel like there's a separation between those two things, because I did have a problem with the drum sound on this album. I had a big issue with the cymbal sound on this album.
Okay.
That was an issue for me. But as far as the song goes, I really feel like they should have cut out the angry section entirely and just shorten the song up. Because the song's 4:18. This statement goes back to the Offspring album, where if you're going to go over 4 minutes, there better be a damn good reason.
And if this song had that big soaring bridge that I know they can do, because they do on some other parts of this album, I feel like, I get why they did what they did here. I understand that. Hindsight 2020. Just in my humble opinion, what I would have tried to do is work in another big moment there. Maybe a little noodly guitar solo, something just mimic the vocal melody of the chorus, real big and high pitched or something. I don't know. Just a little something. And yes, shorter, do less there. Real quick little sidebar about the music of this song. It started because the guitar player was playing the Wasted Years riff by Iron Maiden. And I don't know if he started playing it slow or Max told him to play it slow, or what exactly happened, but he started picking the notes a lot slower. And Max was like, hold on, I got some lyrics. And he ran and they put the song together. So if you go back and listen to it knowing that, if you listen to Wasted Years, obviously it's much faster. It's an Iron Maiden song. And then the little opening kind of picked notes. It's a very similar vibe. It's cool.
Yeah, I did actually put the note down that it's a nice intro. So
it's a good song. I think it's a really good song. It's a radio song. It's your radio song from your new metal album.
All right, let's talk about track 5, Step Into the Sideshow. This was another single, August 13th, 2002. But as far as this song goes, I'm going to start with at 3 seconds. At 3 seconds, there's a moan.
I don't love the moan either.
I hate it. I think it's a terrible choice. Why do they put these sounds in here?
Again, it's one of those deals where I like the attempt. I like the thought behind it, but I don't always love the execution. And I think he's going for Phil Anselmo, Mike Patton, powerful, weird vocalists that do weird things. But it kind of makes you feel uncomfortable sometimes.
Oh, yeah. No, this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this up front here. This song is an example of everything I don't like about nu metal.
Interesting.
This is my least favorite track off of this album. Okay, it's an aggressive song. Yeah, sure. But they aggressively show their nu metal colors. The fast scream rapping thing. Just, I don't like it. I feel like the drums are just frantic all throughout the song, and it's almost like the drummer just wants to stop, but the band won't let him, or Garth won't let him. I mean, I don't know. It starts out aggressive, and it's almost like the moan, and then it got aggressive, and I was like, I don't like anything that's happening here at all.
I musically, I really like this song. I like that it is just so punchy and aggressive. I like a lot of his vocal delivery on this. I do think as far as the whole nu metal influence thing goes, I hear a lot of Mudvayne on this one. I hear a little bit of Slipknot, but a lot of like Chad Gray vocal styles, Mudvayne. Talking about the vocals a little bit more, no, I don't like them up. Once the song kicks in, I like his vocals for the most part. When the music drops out and he says, "Up in your face, full force" at 2:03,
I'm up in your face, full force.
That never landed for me. But at 2:14, when it's just his voice and he's doing this step into the sideshow part.
I know, ignite like a pyro, burn inside, so step into the sideshow. I know, gonna go psycho, might go, step into the sideshow.
Part of it is nostalgia, but it reminds me so much of one of my old bands and one of my old lead vocalists that I love it. And this was before I had that band. This is when I was in the band Death Proof in 2009, 10, 11, 12, that time. But just that like fast rap, but it's got a snarl to his voice. I like that. Like, I get why you wouldn't. I understand that, but I do. I think it's fun.
Okay, so I did find that this song is about being pissed off because your life is falling apart and you're spiraling downwards and you're heading towards committing suicide. And I couldn't blame you for doing that after hearing the song.
It's so funny, the stuff that you like that's so heavy, but then this is somehow like weird or doesn't work for you. Because it's like a lot of the stuff that you've showed me, like Avoid and that early Thornhill record, like if it wasn't for songs like this one, where do those songs come from? You know what I mean? Like, it was 2000s metal and nu metal bands that were mixing the grooves with the chugs and the screams and stuff that like blended into that sort of thing.
I get that, and we've talked about that plenty, that, you know, this the nu metal sound was very important to the, you know, the nucore sound, the nu metal sound. It's very important to that, but I feel like those bands listen to other albums and not this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they would be better if they listened to something besides Linkin Park and Deftones.
I think they're doing just fine. Track 6, Falling Down.
Life keeps on pushing me under, ripping my own walls asunder.
Okay, this was released October 23 of 2001, and I feel like this was like, more in service of the album. I feel like those other ones that were released, in August of 2002 were just kind of to try to get some more juice out of this album. So I feel like this was one they wanted to put up front.
And I'm going to let you tell me, generally speaking, what you think about this song. And there is a right answer and there is a wrong answer. So just be aware of that.
Okay, so Garth also produced another album of a band that I know you and I are both very familiar, that was, like, I became a huge fan of them in 98 when I picked up their album Drawing Black Lines. The way that beginning starts, where you get the sound, the break, the sound, the break, the sound, the break.
It's gonna bite today. To open the canopy.
It sounds just like Project 86's song Me Against Me. And I actually went and I listened to it, and it's like I just kind of wanted to keep listening to that album because I like that album. I like Drawing Black Lines a lot better than this, and like I don't know. It's like this song sounds like a Project 86 ripoff there for the first chunk of it. And then I did think that this was an example of like one of the things they're good at, which is that like stop on a dime and switch things up sound of things. It's got chunky chords and screams, and yeah, I don't know. It's an attempt at showing some variety, but the guitar lead is nice in this one at 3:15. I got nothing else to say about this one. I do have something else to say about it, but I'll let you talk.
If someone asked me to, hey, what's a new metal band that is not like A-list, B-list, like something a little under the radar that I should check out, and why? If I was showing them 40 Below Summer, I would show them this song because I like how heavy it starts. I didn't think about the Project 86 thing, but I can kind of hear it. I like Project 86, but I never really got into them. They were always...
I loved Project 86. I bought every album they put out for quite a while. But yeah.
Their lead singer sounded like Billy Mays or like an infomercial guy. Like he just... Every once in a while, the vocal delivery worked, and then other times I was like he starts to get on my nerves after a little while.
Huh?
But the way this song starts off super aggressive... You've got that bouncy, like the shift in rhythm for the chorus where he goes into that clean vocal. Also, the little bell symbol at 122 where it's like a little drum fill. Ding.
Yeah,
that was the drum fill. That was the drum fill.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I actually put down that that's an interesting drum fill.
But then when it stops and goes into that bridge, it's just, that bridge is so chill and beautiful.
That's why.
And sandwiched in between these aggressive sections, this to me is like special. Like this is a song that I feel like stands out amongst their peers because, like we said, we're hearing the Deftones, we're hearing the Mudvayne, we're hearing the Korn, we're hearing all of those things for sure. But this song feels very unique. And a big part of that is just the structure, just because you do have this real aggressive verse chorus kind of thing, and then this like extended moody vibe of the bridge that I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess I can see it not having any effect on people, but I don't know. Every time this song comes on and that part happens, it hits me. Like I have an emotional reaction to this one.
Okay, so I'll say that this is probably the best song off the album, but it just didn't do it for me. But okay, so there is a line in this song that it bothered me when I heard it, and it stuck out to me. And I went back and listened to the song several times, and it's like it's not a line that really jumps out and grabs you, but every time I heard it, and it just didn't sit right to me. And it's when he says, "Take a look at the scoreboard. It's 1-0 them."
Take a look at the scoreboard. It's 1-0 them. So
It just felt funny. I don't know.
Well, so without, looking up the meaning of this one, from what I can tell, especially
I don't have the meaning of this one, so.
Yeah, especially in the bridge section, he's talking about like, I'm such a waste, and it sounds very depressed. And so that lyric, I'm sure, goes along with that, being down and out kind of thing.
Going back to that thing about how this is a depressing album.
It is. Which, again, why don't you like that? You love depressing shit. Like, this is... Man, I cannot believe I swung this hard and missed that bad. Like, I really thought this would be something you would dig. But I like this one a lot. This one, to me, is... I'm glad you can at least... You say that you think this is probably the best song on the album, because I agree with you. And I don't know. Like, this one to me, and part of it is nostalgia for sure, because I do remember hearing this at 16, and I probably was not in the best shape at the time, or whatever the case might be. And I like the song. I like the song a lot.
So you said you swung this hard, and it's just something I don't dig. But do you know who does dig this? The crowd that saw them when they toured with Shovel, because Shovel's big.
You want to do a Shovel album?
It's a Shovel.
You want to do a Shovel album?
No.
Because I'm pretty sure that first Shovel album sold about 700 copies, and I'm one of the people who bought it. So I can make your life worse. Just try it.
So there's a little thing that happens at the end, and I am not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure, like, there's just... And this actually happens on a couple songs, and I didn't take note of all of them, but it's like beginning or end, there's like a little word, a little sound, something like that, and the end of this one just goes, give.
Yeah, it's like the very last word of that last chorus, like all the music drops out, and he just says,
yeah, right. Why?
But see, like that I don't mind. Like the little tiny little smidge of a vocal at the very end is a lot easier to digest than the at the beginning of a song. I'm not ready for that.
Fair. All right, track 7, Smile Electric. This was released December 24th, so day before Christmas Eve 2002. This is the last gasp song.
Yeah, I don't. Why would you release this one?
I don't know. I don't know at all.
So I actually do.
Why would you release this album? Go on.
Because it's good. I do really like the chorus. The verses, I'm kind of... They're okay. Like, I like the drums. There's a lot of cool Tom stuff going on, especially in the intro. But he does that weird vocal thing again on those pre-choruses that are...
He does it at 26 seconds. And then I actually said, why does he keep doing that at 26 seconds? Why does it keep happening?
Between 25 seconds and 31 seconds, and then at 108 to 113, and then 203 to 214 are all the sections where he goes, and again, it's one of those things where, like, it's super unique. It's super him. It's Max. It's 40 Below Summer. Is it a feature or is it a bug? That's for you to decide. But it's at least something different. And so, again, if you don't like it and it pisses you off or makes you uncomfortable, it is what it is. But it's at least something to break it up from everybody else.
I mean, rubbing a cheese grater on my face would be something different, but I don't want to do it.
Sure. And for some people, listening to Shovel is a good idea. I wouldn't recommend it myself, but some people do it.
Okay, let's talk about what he says in the chorus. He says, smile, don't give up your smile, don't give up your smile, electric. Okay, so why? I mean, we were just talking about falling down and a song about killing yourself, and now it's don't give up your smile. Don't give up your smile. It's such a basic chorus, basic words, and it just doesn't fit. I don't like it.
It reminds me a lot of that opening Taproot song off of their first album, Gift, where it says the thing about you're trying to catch or something, your contagious smile. It's like contagious smile, electric smiles. Sure, nu metal was all smiles. But I think coming out of such an emotionally draining song as Falling Down, I can see why they would want to put this one here to try to pick it back up. And having that more don't you give up your smile hook almost is sort of triumphant in a way. I'm not saying it's executed perfectly, but I think that's what they were going for there.
All right, so I thought the song was coming to a close at 132. And then it doesn't. It picks back up. It's like, it's not even like a false ending like I've complained about plenty of times in the past, but it's like it's a false close. Like they bring the song down, and the way all the instrumentation goes, it's like they're ending the song. And nothing after that was worth it. Like, because it comes back up and it just goes into what it was doing before. It goes into something I don't even remember what it goes into, honestly, because it just, after that, it's like the first time I listened to this album, after that it came up, it's like, okay, cool. And then I think I listened to this one maybe 4 more times after, and I just didn't pay attention to anything there.
So you're right. It kind of drops out, and there's sort of like the guitar just sort of like hangs, and the drums do some fills. And then about 147 or 8 or so, it kicks into like a groove, and he's kind of scream, singing, rapping kind of thing, you know. And I like that part because it's got a like heavy groove and bounce to it. But yeah, this isn't one of my favorites. This is, I'm glad it's short. I'm glad it's under 3 minutes. It just kind of,
it's 1 second under 3 minutes. It's 2:59.
It bounces around for a little while and has some drum fills in the middle. I don't know. It's okay.
You say it bounces around. I feel like it just kind of falls down.
That was around. The song before. The song before was Falling Down.
Yeah, so this one clucks around.
Clucks around.
All right. Track 8, Rejection. So I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you identify with the title of the song with how I'm feeling about this album?
I again, dude, I'm being dead serious. Like, this is not a bit. This is not Monster putting on a show. I legitimately thought you would enjoy this more than you have. Mm-hmm. Like, this is, I do feel a little bit rejected because I thought you would be into this. Now, you had mentioned a few minutes ago, you've never heard of Candiria.
No.
Okay. Candiria is we're going to use the word hardcore because I don't know what else you would call them, but they are a band from New York that late 90s, early 2000s, they mixed just brutal riffs with jazz breakdowns, with horns, the whole 9 yards, with hip-hop verses. I mean, incredibly eclectic, incredible, like, we should probably do one of their albums someday because they are just one of the most unique bands I've ever heard. This doesn't sound like them. But the way this song has these like stops and changes and into these like quote unquote sort of breakdowny sections, that's where I'm kind of getting the hardcore vibe on this album, especially on this song.
As far as when they go heavy on this song, at this point, the fatigue has definitely set in, but the heavy parts just sound like all the other heavy parts on this album. Like, I don't feel like the heavy parts are doing anything different. They're not standing out in any way. And I pretty much feel that way going forward in this one. And that's where, and I kind of feel like so many of the heavy parts just sound like so many of the other heavy parts. It starts out different. And my first thought was, that's something different, you know, when it first kicks in. And then it just, I don't know, we get 2 new vocal layers. And it's like, it was fine up until he decided to eat the microphone at 43 seconds.
Time is right, I need to hold you tight.
Yeah. So all of this is happening. And then I actually, like you said, I do like the first verse, I guess you could say, with the drums. They're very interesting. It's almost like a salsa beat. It's kind of
I put jazzy drums.
almost. Yeah. So, you know, again, that Candiria thing, which we'll get back to Candiria. We have to. But so this is like kind of fun. You're right. It's a little bit different. And then at 118, when it jumps into that chug and that bounce. Come on, man. You know how I am. I love that shit. Like,
yeah, I know.
I'm having a good time with all of that. So then there's this section that starts around 256.
Yep.
Now, you can say whatever and you don't think it sounds good or whatever, but that kind of riff, that kind of rhythm is like that original flavor of hardcore. Take it or leave it, but that's not nu metal. That's not something that Limp Bizkit's going to do. You know what I mean? Or Deftones aren't going to do that. Right. So again, just it adds to that weirdness that these guys have. So I really dig that section.
Okay, so that 256 section, I said 256 doesn't sound bad, but it feels crammed in. It doesn't feel like it's from this song.
Okay.
It doesn't feel like it fits here. It feels like something else they wrote that they wanted to put into this song. It just feels crammed in here. So I'm not going to say it sounds bad. I'm not going to say it's the wrong thing or it doesn't, whatever. I'm just saying it doesn't belong here in this song.
I mean, that's fine. I disagree. I think it sounds cool. This whole song feels like a mishmash of different pieces, and it's not, put it this way, there's a lot of different pieces in this song, and none of them are very smooth. So to me, it doesn't feel out of place because all the pieces feel kind of unique to themselves. And so, I don't know. Like, I think it's cool in there, and I don't have a problem with the transition into it.
Now, you talk about the pieces and how they fit together, and I don't think you're wrong, but I don't feel like... okay, so I just am picturing in my head that the band is working on a jigsaw puzzle, and they leave some of them turned over to the brown side, and so it's like the pieces are still fitted together, but it just doesn't look good in the end. It doesn't look right.
The brown side. I don't know why, but I don't like the phrase "the brown side." It sounds weird.
Yeah, that's a fair statement. So okay, let's talk about track 9, Power Tool. This was released April 23rd, 2002. I don't know why I keep going with 2022. It's because we've just been in the 2020s for too long. But yeah, okay, so when I was going through the track listing and all, before I started listening to it, I thought, Power Tool, that's got to be an interesting one. And okay, so
This song's nasty.
The first note I have here is, I fear the intro sound is going to leave me. Because I like those harmonics that are coming in. I think those are interesting. It's an interesting touch. And that bass is nice. Mm-hmm. And then it leaves me.
No, this one, I love this one, man. This has such a nice vibe.
I feel like the chorus is a new metal butt rock chorus.
So this one, we talk about like companion pieces, and this is like the back half Wither Away. This is the late album, your second big rock anthem kind of song. From Zero did that on their album. They had, I think it was like track 3 or 4 was Other Side or Gone, and then one of the last tracks was the other one. And so I like that. You wouldn't want those two too close together because they do share a lot of sonic space. The difference is the lyrical content.
Yeah, so I put that it's maybe about killing or something along those lines, but I didn't find what the song is about, and I couldn't quite put together what the song's about.
No, it's pretty aggressively sexual.
Maybe I just didn't want to put together what it's about.
Basically, from what I gather, it sounds like he's basically using this young lady for sex. And
is he using power tools on her?
He's referring to something as his power tool. If you want to take that in a physical context, you possibly could. He kind of almost makes it sound like his ability to do this, manipulate this person to do his bidding, basically, is his power tool. But I think it works on 2 levels.
I don't think that she was invited to the dance.
The way I interpret the lyrics, and, hey, Max, if you're listening, feel free to shoot us an email and let me know. The way I interpret these lyrics are, he's basically using this woman for his own pleasure, and when he's done, and she's got to go. And so, yeah, I think she was invited to the dance, but then told to leave, and, we'll call you an Uber.
All right, so 205.
Yes.
They bring in the new and ruin it.
Again, sort of like with Wither Away. See, okay, so that's sort of the bridges of these songs are sort of an interesting hodgepodge on this record, because on the more aggressive songs, the bridges tend to smooth out and go in kind of a different melodic direction. Where if you have more of a melodic song, your bridge goes into a heavier nu metal section, which sometimes works and sometimes feels a little clunky. And for me, I don't love that section either. That's probably, I think this is a killer song, especially musically. Lyrically, it's questionable, but musically, I love the way this song sounds. But that's probably my least favorite part of the song, for sure.
Yep. All right, so track 10, Drown.
So when you had mentioned, when we were talking earlier about the amount of weed smoking that these guys did.
This is a weed song.
One of the funny stories that Max tells is Gagarth would come in, like, they basically built this sort of like little bohemian hut vocal booth thing that Max could walk into and sing. And so apparently Garth and Max had a really good relationship, and they used to joke about, Max would get into the studio to do his vocals and Garth would be there and he's like, "Good morning, sweetheart. I got you a joint." And he would like smoke up and kind of get him in the right mood to do these songs or whatever. And so 99% sure that's what we're hearing at the beginning of this song is him token up a little bit.
Yeah, because it just starts with those kinds of sounds. Okay, so I feel like this one is a track placement that's way out of whack because why would you choose to put the slowdown of the album, this far back in the album? Why would you not have put it further up?
Well, because you're right, it is slower, but you sort of already had slowdowns with like Wither Away and the Bridge of Falling Down. So this one just has an odd vibe to me, just in general.
Yeah, fair.
I see what you're saying though, because sometimes I forget there's more songs because this feels like a last track of an album kind of song.
I feel like this would have been a better 10-track album, not a 12-track album.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe move a couple things around somewhere. This one kind of like Smile Electric is sort of in the bottom tier of the songs for me. Not because I think it's bad. It's just, especially sandwiched in between the songs that it's sandwiched between, I don't know. I'm not in the mood for this when it happens.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know. Okay, so his cleans sound really good on this song, but the dirties and the croaks that he does, I don't know. I feel like he's channeling more of that, the Jonathan Davis croaks. I don't know. I feel like the song was actually okay. I don't feel like it was wrong, out of place. I did feel like he was kind of trying to do too much with his voice, trying to, show too much range. I don't know. And there's a drum fill in here that just feels clunky.
I'm not exactly sure where that drum fill is.
I don't know. And when I went back through my notes before we started recording, I saw that. I was like, man, I really wish I'd put a timestamp on that. But I just put the drum fill feels clunky.
Well, I'm sure you'll find it and put a sound clip in here. Now you have to find it.
Bastard. Okay.
The part that freaks me out.
Is it the rattlesnake?
No, the rattlesnake's cool. I like the rattlesnake. I
didn't like the rattlesnake.
I don't like the water sounds.
That whole section, I didn't care for it.
Here's what I wrote in my notes. I said, the water sounds freak me out because mixed with the music, it feels like we're hearing something we shouldn't be hearing. Like, it sounds like, because of the name of the song, because of the slow tempo, I'm like, are we drowning people in a bathtub right now? Like, is that what's happening?
Probably. Occasionally it sounds like we've put somebody's head underwater.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just, like I said, this is not a bad song on its own. I think it goes on a little too long for what it does. 4:30,
so yeah.
Yeah, it's a slow, dirgy kind of song, and that's not uncommon for bands like this. It just, I don't know. Like I said, in between the songs that it's in between, I could kind of take it or leave it.
Yeah. All right, track 11, -1. My first issue with this one is it's at track 11, and it's -1. I feel like it should be further up, like 1, or maybe a secret track, like we had, like you talked about on Transistor, on 311's album, like you had to go back. Anyway, go on.
This song rules. I love this song. It is just 2.5 minutes of just pure rockin' chaos, new metal goodness. I like everything about this song. This is one of my favorite ones. I don't know. Like, this one is a lot of fun to me. I think if it was another minute long, I would have some like things to complain about, but because it's so short and so tight that I'm all in.
Yeah, 2:36, it is a good length, but
yeah.
I have a few notes on this one. So my first note is nope, I don't want to do it. Okay.
Why? Why? Because it's too much fun?
No.
Because there's a groove and bounce and we're having a good time? Like, what's the problem?
This is another example of all the things of new metal that I don't like. His vocals, the bass tone on it, the guitar tone, like every part of this one just didn't do it for me. This one is right up your alley. This one is,
Yes.
I don't know, if they were garbage cans in an alley, I'd put it in it.
I'm going to shove this up your alley. This song rules, and you're a bad person for not liking it.
I mean, you're my friend, so, you like bad people. Anyway, okay, so the chorus felt confrontational, where he just kept yelling, yes, you're gonna die. I didn't like him telling me that I was gonna die.
Well, considering the next song, I think he was just warming you up.
Yeah. All right. It's a very heavy song. It's a very heavy new metal song.
Yeah, and one other funny thing is, this song is called -1. Mudvayne on LD50 has a song that is like negative symbol, the number 1, and it's -1. Like in the lyrics, he says the -1. So I always thought that was funny. -1, -1, and that's, I think, track 4. So they didn't do it right either.
Yeah. All right. So let's round the album out. Talk about track 12, Jonesin.
Shut up and stay there and bleed as I open you up and now watch while you scream. I can't get enough of your faith and my dreams. I'm raping you like.
Okay, so I will say that -1 leads into Jonesin. Like it sets up the feeling of this song, which it's a very interesting intro.
I like the sort of there's some hand percussion. We kind of got a little bit of a waltzy rhythm. We got some croaking on the vocals again that I don't mind them so much on this one as I do on some of the other ones. I think because the intro is so weird that him making just weird noises sort of works.
Yeah, this song felt very claustrophobic to me. Like I don't know, listening to it, and I didn't even listen to this one in headphones, but it just felt like I was just kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say crushed, but like closed in.
Well, with the lyrics, it's hard not to feel sort of threatened, I mean, it's pretty
the last
violent.
The last song told me that I was going to die, and this one, I guess he's the killer.
That's and I'm sure there's probably a pretty wild story to go along with this. A lot of bands, a lot of vocalists do those kind of like characters and stuff. This could also be like metaphoric. It might be about killing some kind of an addiction or something. But just taking it face value, these lyrics are pretty terrifying.
Yep. So I feel like this could have been done by Korn or early Slipknot. I'm not going to say Slipknot in general, just early Slipknot.
Early Slipknot for sure, up until 2 minutes.
Yep.
And that's when the song for me really like kicks in. Because all that stuff before it is weird and it's interesting and I don't hate it. But at 2 minutes, when that big clean vocal comes in and that big open airy guitar chords, love it. I think it sounds like $1,000,000.
Yeah, and I actually have, where did 2 minutes come from? It's a half decent part that feels like it shouldn't be here because it doesn't match the first part. It just feels like it's stuck in here. And it actually is like that whole thing is a song that I feel like would have been a better thing here.
Well, I was going to say, so then at 2:38, it kicks into this, like, again, I kind of hear a little bit of Mudvayne with kind of the rhythm and his vocal delivery. But I love that section too. Like, that is great too.
See, I have from like 2 to 2:38, like I enjoyed that part. And then at 2:38, I just really started struggling with how to feel about this whole experience.
Oh man. So you're right. I am narrowing down what you like and what you don't like. And what you don't like is fun. You don't like a bounce and groove that makes your head go, "Oh, yeah, we're having fun. This is good. This is good." For whatever reason, as soon as a band kicks into one of those grooves and locks in, you just check out, which is, hey, that's fine. There's no double kick. There's no, weird time signatures. There's no jinty riff. So I get it. It's too much fun. Okay, I got it. I got it now.
I do want to go back to what you actually said about at 2 minutes. At 2 minutes, there's these big soaring vocals, and it's just this wonderful part.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the wonderful part of the song.
I'm not saying that the 238 section is not. I think they're both sections are like equally great, but in completely different reasons.
I'm glad you like it.
And then, can we at least agree that at 3:48, when that acoustic guitar comes in, that's really nice too.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I had checked out at that point. I really struggled with it because this is 4:43. The song is.
It's your last track. It's the last track of the album.
It's the last track. Yeah, sure. Go ahead, make it a little bit longer. I've seen that happen on plenty of albums, but it's like when they left at 2:38 and just went into Nu Metal Madness. It was like I'm struggling at this point to even be here because all the heavy parts sound the same.
At 3:48. It goes back to essentially the section from the 2 minute mark, but with acoustic guitar and a little bit more full on the drums. Like the music's not as big because it's more strummed acoustic, but the drums are a little bit more filled in. And it just kind of goes out on that vibe. And for such a dark, moody, often depressing kind of record, to go out on like this kind of like airy acoustic guitar is, again, just more kind of uniqueness that I like and I appreciate.
It's like he worked through the struggles of wanting to murder women with his power tool.
That's not a great sentence.
No, but that's this album.
At any point in your life, did you think you would say a sentence about murdering women with a power tool?
I have said far worse things as jokes, and so... Yeah.
Not recorded. Not for the world to hear.
No, not recorded. So no, I did not think I would ever say something like
into
that.
A microphone.
Right. So Monster, let me ask you a question. And this seems like a waste of time, but what's new with you?
Right.
Hey, good looking. What you got? Cooking.
Let's see. What is the runtime of this album?
Too long.
46 minutes and 2 seconds of new metal. No, I'm just going to go with Falling Down. Because to me, that is the best song on the album for me. And it is the best example of what makes these guys different. It's got the chugs, it's got the bouncy groovy section, but it also has the like more introspective, slowed down, moody, pretty section. And if you like all those pieces and you don't feel like it's clunky, you feel like it's cohesive and you're enjoying the ride, then you might enjoy this album. If you hear that song and you're like, meh, then this might not be for you. Clearly it's not for you, but I'm going to go with Falling Down simply because I think it's the best song on the album.
All right.
Danger, what's cooking?
Do I have to? Do I have to pick a song?
Yeah, and you're actually going to have to listen to this one song for the entire duration of your cooking meal.
I just going to find a new hobby. If I had to pick any song off of this album to play again, it would also be Falling Down. If I were to pick a song that I actually enjoyed more than any other song on this album, it would be Drown, just because it sounded so different, but there's so many other sounds and things that happen in there I don't want to put onto a playlist because like I'm going to be cooking and all of a sudden it's going to be a damn rattlesnake or a guy drowning and it just, but I don't want to put anything from this onto my cooking playlist. And I'm going to because I just named off a song.
You have to. You have to. Man, I can't wait to hear these scores. Okay.
Right, you did this to me, so you go first.
Okay. And if anybody in 40 Below Summer is listening, I am Monster. I am your fan. I'm the guy that's saying all the nice things. So if you get pissed off, his name is Danger, and I'll give you his personal cell phone number if you email me. Okay.
Just say your thing. Just say it.
Okay. By 2001, nu metal had firmly established itself as a very popular and oftentimes lucrative music genre. Korn, Limp Bizkit, Deftones had all established themselves as huge music acts. Another one of those huge bands was Slipknot, and Sean Crahan, Clown, saw something special in 40 Below Summer and helped them get with No Name Management, sign a major record deal, and was there during the recording process of Invitation to the Dance, an underappreciated, under-talked about nu metal gem. By 2001, the nu metal scene was starting to get a little oversaturated, and even the really good bands sometimes got overlooked because they were just a quote-unquote another nu metal band. Some of those bands deserved that. 40 Below Summer did not. They should have been given a better shot. On Invitation to the Dance, you can tell these guys already understand dynamics and blending genres while remaining catchy and easily digestible. Unlike most nu metal bands, 40 Below Summer also incorporates moments of hardcore and groove metal. Invitation to the Dance is not perfect, but it's promising. They did put out several albums after this, and I'm not saying those albums are bad, but you can't help but wonder if they had been able to stay on a major label and get the type of backing some of their peers were getting, could they not have reached that next level? As it is, I think this is a solid album and a strong debut. If you're a fan of Deftones, Glassjaw, Faith No More, Il Nino, or Hell, just bands that can be brutal and beautiful, and you haven't checked this one out, I'd highly recommend it. 1 to 10, I said 7.28. Did you have your finger on the 7?
I did. I hate that you... Oh, God, I hate that I know that stuff. I know where you're going to fall, but it is what it is. So,
all right, Danger. Break my heart. Hurt my feelings.
All right. So I actually wrote 2 closing statements. So I'm going to let you pick. Do you want the short one or the long one?
I feel like I really droned on there for a while. So if you want to pick the short one, that might be better.
Okay. So you're wanting me to do the short one. All right. So.
Oh no. Is this going to piss me off?
Probably. Invitation to the Dance is a nu metal album for those who love nu metal, and that is it. People outside of that are not going to like it. I am not one of those people. If this is the invitation, I don't want to go to the damn dance. I gave this album a 3.68.
Perfect.
So Monster gave this album, the 40 Below Invitation to the Dance, a 7.28, and I gave it a 3.68, which gives it an average of 5.48, putting it into the 76th position, just below Pulse Ultra and just above Throwdown.
Oh my God. Yes. I want to go to that tour today.
You'll be going without me.
Yes, God, please, yes.
If you disagree with the score that we have given this album, then please just email at breakdownsbreakfast@gmail.com or head on over to one of our Facebook, X, or Instagram. I don't know why I messed up socials, but send us a message there about what you like about this album, what you liked about this episode, what you hated about this album, what you hated about this episode, or what you'd like to hear us break down in the future.
Podcast math is hard. I think Second Breakfast is in the midst of my epic series on nu metal albums. I think it's still happening at this time. So hopefully you're checking that out and giving me feedback. I'd love to hear it. Danger, I have a good one for you tonight. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready for a good one.
Okay. What does a thesaurus eat for breakfast?
What?
A synonym roll. Ugh.
You good?
Yeah, I'm trying to take my sock off. It's hot in here.
It's actually hot in the basement for once. Which
Might take my pants off, too. We'll see.